Okay, so we've talked scheme, we've talked coaches. Yidio 10 asks, is it time for Huggins to make changes to the starting lineup? If so, what would your lineup and rotations be?
I don't think you do, because if you start Curry, where's your offense coming from on the bench?
Yeah.
So I don't think you do that. That's working almost to, like, I don't want to say to a detriment, but it doesn't work within the flow of the offense because he's doing a lot of individual stuff. You don't see him dropping it off to bigs of the basket. You don't see him stopping and kicking out to 3-point shooters. So he's kind of a break glass, score points kind of guy. I would not have him starting because I don't think that helps your offense. Um, and then you just don't know what you don't know about. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with Okonkwo, but like, if he can't redshirt, is he worse than what's going on? Don't know. Njai, I don't know. Can you blame him for being out of sorts, being the fourth guy off the bench in the first half against a Baylor team that was determined to pick on West Virginia's post players? I have a hard time holding that against him, but I haven't seen these guys in practice, and I haven't heard great things about him. Every time they say Njai practices well, they put him in, and he looks lost. So that's not good. I'm not sure there's a wealth of answers on your bench. And again, the one that makes sense would be starting Curry. I think that just totally screws up your scoring continuity in reserve.
Yeah, that was before the season. That was my prediction, was that Curry was going to start, that I had heard that he was, the not amazing, but that he was winning or was the better performer at that point guard spot ahead of Keedy Johnson. Now, Keedy has his pluses and his minuses, just like Curry has his pluses and minuses. So when I read the question the first time last night as I was prepping for this, my first thought was, yeah, I'd put Curry in the starting lineup. And then I got to thinking and came to the same conclusion you did. If you put Curry in the starting lineup, who's coming off the bench to score? I mean, is there anybody on the bench outside of Curry that can score points right now?
No.
I think the answer is just
Gabe?
like none. Like literally, like yeah. I mean, dude, let's talk about if you move Curry to the starting lineup. Here are your bench players: Keedy Johnson, Gabe, Pauly Polycap, Damone Kerrigan.
I mean, that's the answer.
Like
You know what
who's scoring point? Like those four guys combined, I'm talking like maybe 10 points. You might get double figures if you add all four of those guys together. Um, so I don't know if you can. Now on the big man front, I've been pushing the Polycap thing. I mean, he's not as good as I had heard he was. He also pluses and minuses. I think it hurts that he was said to be 6'9" and is actually 6'6". I think that's not going to help when you're playing big men. But he does. I wouldn't mind seeing him start and maybe bring Cottrell off the bench. Not so much as a knock on Cottrell, but maybe if Cottrell is coming in as a bench guy, you can run a little more offense through him, because I do think he has some offensive talent. I do think I think he can score. He's not a very good low post scorer. His hook shots, and maybe I've talked about this on here, but and Huggins made a reference to it one time, but when you go for a hook shot and you go, say, to the middle of the go over your shoulder so that you're going into the middle of the lane, you should be gently tossing the ball just over the front of the rim. That way, if it hits the front of the rim, it bounces and goes in, bounces and hits the back and the backboard and goes in. Whenever he does a hook shot, he is like almost spiking it like a volleyball player. There's no finesse on it. That's why, even though he's 3 feet from the basket majority of the time, his shooting percentages are so bad. But he can shoot it. He can shoot mid range. He's got range out to 3-point land. But I think you can refine, just get a little softer touch, because he's got decent footwork in the post. The touch is just not there. So I'd love to see him come off the bench. And maybe if you're dead set on making a big man, establishing a post presence or establishing big man touches, maybe that's one way to kind of ease him into things, is to bring him off the bench and put a little more focus at that point.